what if I've overlooked a move that Petrosian finds at the board, refutes my analysis, Korchnoi loses, and I'm responsible for the loss to his greatest rival ever. As this realization starts to seep in, I mean, I start going into a panic mode. Oh my God, Victor's going to fire me. I'm going to be kicked out of the camp. I'm going to be in the doghouse forever. I'll never get out of the doghouse. So I'm thinking the worst and the worst and the worst and the worst. 30 minutes goes by. The third time, Petrosian crosses out his move, writes another one, plays rook c8.
Which is losing.
The very move that Korchnoi tried. Bang, 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 bang. Victor wins.
Hard
The relief was like palpable. I make my way out. And they're playing in like this town hall. And I go down the stairs and there's a chauffeur car waiting for Victor. And I've opened up the back door. Victor's walking down and he's got this fedora, this hat that he's got to hold on to because these Austrians have surrounded him as a crowd and they're singing some victory song in German. And he's like a leaf. He can't go anywhere until, like a few steps and more and a few steps and more. And he finally makes it into the car and he's wearing this big smile and he ducks into the car, pulls back out of the car, looks at me and says, "Shut up." Gets in the car and we go out to have a dinner. Oh my God. Now today, this moment, I put in that position in the computer and instantly it finds G4.
Yeah.
It's validated. It's the correct move.
It avoids months of work.
But the
weeks, months of work.
Yeah.
Pressure that I had, I didn't have any validation.
Now it's a different feeling because let's say you're watching the game now as a second. And you see all the correct moves.
Correct.
But you don't know if your player is going to make them.
It's just
Will he remember?
So
Will he remember?
The responsibility is almost entirely off the second in that sense, I think.
Right.
The responsibility is more now, did I recommend an opening that my player doesn't know how to play well?
Right.
And he's going to get a position or she's going to get a position.
Are they familiar with it or not?
That they don't know.
Right.
And then they're going to play like shit.
Right.
And they're going to be like, "Why did you recommend this to me?
Right.
I don't know how
didn't
to play
know what
this.
I was doing.
Yeah, I don't know how to play the Caracan or whatever opening it is."
exactly.
But you're not going to have... So there was this very famous case, right? Kramnik Leko.
Brilliant. I love it. I love everything about this story.
Kramnik
Has this great idea.
has to play against the Marshal.
Exactly.
He knows that Leko is playing the Marshal in this match.
Right.
And they're hitting their heads against what to do against this opening, which is a
Right.
super tough opening, right?
Right.
And Svidler has the idea. I don't mean to put Svidler on the spot on this one, but I think this is a well-known story.
Right.
He has this idea. But he's like, I still need a bit of time to polish it off.
Right.
Because, yeah, the computers say this and this and this, but we haven't looked at it enough. But he tells Kramnik the idea, and Kramnik's like, no, I can't play something else in this game. I need to do it right now. I can't wait a few more days to play this idea. He goes to the board with Svidler's idea,
Right.
plays it all out. Leko's thinking,
Refutes
long
it.
time, like super, super long, like what am I supposed to do?
Right.
And then he makes a move. The move is queen d3.
Right.
Kramnik has a pawn on a7. This pawn is promoting.
Right.
But Leko plays queen d3, and Kramnik realizes doesn't matter if he's getting a queen.
Right.
He's up a lot of material. He's getting mated.
He's
And the
getting mated.
The computers at the time just didn't show it. It was 2004.
Right.
They were strong.
Right.
They weren't strong enough. And he loses the game, and this is, of course...
Exactly. He loses the game, and basically Peter refutes Kramnik / Peter Svidler's preparation of the board. But I have to adjust your story just a little bit because just as you described it, Kramnik said, double check. And Peter's, yeah, I got this. But there was a cricket match, like really, really marvelous cricket match that was on the TV that, Peter just couldn't miss. I mean, it just had to be viewed. And essentially Peter didn't do the work. He didn't double, triple check. And I remember Evgeny Badiev, who was also a second, was being interviewed in New in Chess magazine, and he's describing the story very perfectly. Yes, it was very funny. We'll leave it there, except for Vladimir.
He won the match in that. That's why it's funny.
After winning the match, everybody could be like, ha ha.
Yeah.
Ha, ha.
Well, speaking
Peter
of,
wasn't feeling too good.
speaking of feelings of seconds, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the first match in your match against Magnus when you were completely lost.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the only game in which I napped that afternoon. So I missed the moment
Where you
he
could have
done
lost
whatever.
to get a heart
The moment,
attack.
It was like 4 hours long.
Right.
It was
So
a
I-
good nap.
Good nap, excellent nap, like 2 hours, and I
Right.
woke up immediately after the 41st move, I think, and this
Then I
was
was
the
okay.
exact
Then
one
I was okay.
when he was already okay.
The crisis
I
had
went through the
passed.
game and I was like, holy smokes!
This is
if I would
terrible.
have been awake during that time,
No,
I would have
panic.
had nightmares for the next week. you know.
Exactly.
But we had I realized this after the match.
Right.
We'd prepared one line. Specifically, I had prepared one line. So this was on me because I
Okay.
also took some of the brunt of the analytical work.
Sure.
And there was one line which I prepared pretty much exclusively, and I think Alejandro also prepared a bit of it. It was in the Petrov. It was with
Petrov,
black.
yeah.
And we never saw this in the match,
Mm-hmm.
but it was something I was ready to play.
Right.
And then I'm checking it like a week after, 2 weeks after the match,
Right.
and I see, wait, White has this move, and it's checkmate. And I'm like,
oops.
well, that would have been embarrassing. And
Oh, how awkward.
I couldn't blame anyone because I was the one who analyzed
No,
it.
that was on you. Yeah. And I remember this 1979 as the World Junior Championship in Skien, Norway, and my second was John Donaldson. And I had done a series of simuls in Seattle to raise the money so that I could take John. I mean, that was, again, the extent of, how professional we were. And it was the last round, and I needed draw as black against James Plaskett, Grandmaster Plaskett, who needs a win as white to get the bronze. So I played the Caro. I got some isolated queen pawn position, something very, very normal, maybe 19 moves deep, and I offer a draw. And Jim, very, very dismissive, no. We play some more moves, and at this point, I'm going to say I'm slightly better. But it was just one of those positions that I really feel comfortable in. So Jim, with a very heavy heart, says, I offer you a draw. No, something stuck in my craw. I don't even know what it was. I said, make your move first and I'll consider it. Got up from the board. Jim goes into a 40-minute think, right? And just about this time, John Donaldson, man, he's just so nervous. He's run the marathon. I'm not kidding. He's done a 10K. He comes into the play all hot and sweaty, exhausted. How's Yasser doing? He's declined a draw. That's what he's told.
It's usually a good thing.
Right? And with a draw, I'm a gold medal. I win the gold medal. Like John's disbelieving. So somehow I'm standing up to the next to the rope, and John comes up to me and does what any good second would do. He grabs me by the throat. He says, "You didn't decline a draw, did you?" I said, "Even if Jim blunders his queen, I'm accepting the draw." Very good. Now go on and make your draw. And Jim made some, move, and I draw. Thank you very much. But this role of a second, man, it's underrated.
It's really tough, yeah.
Wow. For me, my role was very supportive of Victor, but he was always the captain. He's the captain of the ship. So if he says, look, I'm going to play the Berlin, which he did, and I didn't like the variation of the Berlin he chooses the one with knight b7 instead of d takes c6.
This is called the Rio?
Whatever it's
Janeiro
called.
variation?
I didn't like it,
Yeah.
but he said it's good for one game. It was. Karpov destroyed him.
Very famous game.
Very
Yeah,
famous
yeah.
game. And it was sort of like, you know, even if Victor was going to make an opening or defense that that I abused, I just like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Then it was like, okay, you're going to play it. I disagree, but I'm going to support you 1,000%. I'm going to try my
Yeah.
best.
I think this is the
You know,
this is the best way. The player has the choice, also has the responsibility.
right.
At the end of the day,
It's his,
you know,
yeah,
you have
exactly.
to
It's
take
on him.
responsibility for your own games.
Exactly. But that was tough. One other very interesting story I just have about Victor Korchnoi. So we were playing in the Canary Islands, Gran Canaria, and we're staying at this hotel, really wonderful resort right on the beach. There's an island about, I'm going to say 300 yards away from the beach. It's a nice swim, essentially, but it's going to be a 20-minute swim in an open ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Victor, we got to make this swim. And he said, okay. So we swam to the other side. We basked on the other side. And it came time to go back to our hotel, like lunch, right? And a frogman got out of the water with, tank and scuba equipment and everything. And Victor says, I don't go swimming.
Mm.
You go, you get the boat, you paddle, rowboat, you come back and pick me up. I'm not swimming back. I said, but you swam here, you can swim back. He says, no, you got to go get the rowboat. I was like, dude, come on, go get the rowboat. Okay, I got it. I'm going to go get it. And I did. So I'm rowing him back to shore. I said, well, why didn't you want to swim? He says, well, I vacationed often in Odessa. I go, okay. And if the lifeguard saved you from drowning, the lifeguard got like 5 rubles as a great hero of the state. You saved this poor person from drowning. But if they brought back your body, for burial because you drowned, you got like 50 rubles.
So that guy was
That frogman.
the frogman was looking for
terrified Victor that
he was
gonna
getting
get a
those
draft.
50 rubles. Yes.
You can take the boy out of the country. You can't take the country out of the boy.
There's 50 rubles
That
at
50
stake.
rubles was at stake.
It's not bad.
So there was some moments like that, just the little cultural clashes. They kind of appeared. I don't know if you guys had any cultural